Content warning. On this podcast, we discuss sensitive issues, including but not limited to swearing, tasteless jokes, situations of a sexual nature, and drug use. This podcast is not intended for children.
Welcome to Bibliotomy, where we take some time and read some good stuff. I'm Bam Bam.
And I'm LeeLee.
And we're doing another good book, one that you've been telling me about for probably years. Not this one in particular, just the series, I think.
No, this whole series is so cozy, and I love it, and it's childhood, and it makes me so happy.
So what are we doing?
So we're doing one of the books in the Redwall series. I love Redwall. It's so good. They released a cookbook for all the foods because he describes every food. He describes it in such detail you can taste the thing. Everything is very visual, and he just really is describing every detail to you in a way that's scrumptious. It's so good in all of these books.
Yeah. I know you've been telling me about it for years now. I don't know shit about Redwall.
It's so good.
And it's like little animals dressed in little clothes.
Yeah.
Having little adventures.
It sure is.
And eating little food.
Yeah, it's little medieval creatures, woodland creatures, just having a good time, and sometimes they fight sea rats.
That does sound, unfortunately, very adorable.
It is. But they have entire plots and through plots for different stories that they have characters that come back. And so it does have a lot of lore into it as well, which is kind of fun.
And this is more geared toward
12
children, 10 to 12,
Yeah, so I think it's in the children's fiction section, but everybody could use a dose of Redwall, so...
That sounds fun.
So we kind of have to do a little bit of backstory for Redwall as it is, just because, so the first book in the series, we're introduced to Martin the Warrior, who is a mouse, who is a warrior mouse. He has a fancy sword, and he kills evil creatures, but only when he has to, and he has a companion whose name is... Gonf. His name is Gonf. It's Gonff. Gonf.
It sure is Gonf.
And he's the prince of mouse thieves, and but he was his trusty companion. That will kind of come back throughout this book, because in most of the novels of Redwall, they kind of give you some more details about Martin the Warrior, and he comes back in through spirit and stuff.
So this is kind of medievalish. Is this also magic?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
A little bit, yeah.
So it's kind of just Lord of the Rings style fantasy, but they're all animals instead of hobbits and wizards and shit.
Yeah, and they don't really do super explicit magic. Some of the creatures can kind of see the future a little bit, but not in a spell kind of way. So it's a little vague on that part. But there are definitely prophecies and things like that, and ghosts and things like that.
Okay.
It's just a little spooky,
Just a little.
Yeah, just spooky enough for a kid. And I like that.
That sounds wholesome as hell.
It is. So that's kind of the background of Redwall as it is. It is a large redstone abbey in the middle of Mossflower Woods. And there are surrounding woodlands and then different territories. Often one of the woodlands in Mossflower is Salamandastron, which is the castle in the lands of the Badger Lords. And then they have these hares that they send out as the Long Patrol, which kind of just keep the area safe from sea rats and weasels and anything. Yeah.
See, this I kind of find, it kind of leads me to think it's similar to the guy who created Zelda, I think, because he just made the world based off of his little adventures he did in behind his house in the woods as a kid.
Aww.
And I just imagine this is the same thing the author of this book is doing. This is just a big patch of woods that had a bunch of little creatures in it that he made up stories for.
It definitely could be. I think most of the animals he uses are native to England, where he lives and grew up.
Yeah.
Or lived. Sorry, he's dead. So the book we're going to be working on today is specifically Mariel of Redwall, by Brian Jaques, it's spelled Jaques.
Yeah, we talked about that a couple of days ago because I was befuddled to find out his name is not Jaques. Because all these years I've seen those books around, and I just assumed his name was Brian Jaques.
That's crazy.
And you thought his name was just Brian Jacques.
Yeah.
But turns out we were both wrong, and it's Jaques.
It's Jaques the whole time.
Because his dad didn't like the French.
I mean, they were in Liverpool. It kind of makes sense. I don't know. I think the English didn't have great view of them for a while, so yeah. This was written in 1991, and it's one of oh my gosh, I think there might be as many as 15 in this entire series. A lot of them are kind of standalone novels that can be read separately, but are within the world. Now we'll kind of get into Mariel of Redwall. Okay. We open up on the current abbot of the abbey. His name is Bernard. And his friend, Blind Simon, who is a very old mouse, can't see anymore. They're just getting ready for a storm that's coming in. So they tell the young mouse that they've got out there that to warn everybody to come inside. Right now, they don't have a bell. They are building a bell tower. They don't have a bell, but they do have a hollow log. And so they make him go out there and beat a hollow log. And he's known for being over enthusiastic.
This goes a little too hard.
Yeah, and so he's out there banging aloud on it, and then they have to send out the Abbey Badger, whose name is Melis. And so they send her out there, and she drags him back inside and dries him off while he's screaming and no. That's all happening. Then they're of course describing food and drink that they're eating every morning, every lunch, every dinner, snacks, tea, everything. So the whole time you're getting a really cozy feeling. You're kind of oh, this is very homey. Love it.
Yeah, I know that's one you brought up a lot, is just the description of the food. Do you have a quote of any of the food descriptions?
Never had she tasted such marvelous things, alternating between Bernard bread, blackcurrant pie, summer salad, cheese and nut flan, mint cream cakes, and honey glazed preserved fruits. She held her own with the best of the trencher beasts. They've got a lot of different things. They talk in a different chapter specifically about the different types of ales and cordials and when you would use them in a meal. And then they've got things they talk specifically about the desserts they're making. So they're making berry trifle, and they've got such and such preserve and so it's very detailed.
Yeah, kind of I don't know if you would describe it as old people food, but I guess more folksy food. Yeah. So, it just adds to the comfiness.
yeah. It's not necessarily it's not processed foods, but it's good food.
Yeah.
We cut away from Redwall and their comfort and life of luxury and everything to a place called Terramort Island, which is terrible.
Yeah, it's a scary death island.
Sure is, yeah. We open on Gabool the Wild, who is king of all sea rats. Gabool. Yeah.
What is a sea rat? Is it just a rat that's at the ocean?
Yeah. Okay. I think technically a lot of people think wharf rats, specific species of rats are more considered sea rats, but yeah. They're big rats. Big ass rats, and he's fucking crazy, as you have to be king of all sea rats.
Yeah, crazy king of sea rats. I feel that should be a saying.
Yeah, he's laughing at a storm and shaking his sword around while the thunder and lightning is going around, and it's just talking about how he's so satisfied that the creature who dared go against him is fish bait in the sea. And then we cut from that down to the sea, where a mousemaid is tossed about on the stormy waves. And mousemaid. So she is a young adolescent mouse.
Oh,
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and so they say a lot of things like that, every beast and mousemaid and things like that.
Right. I was thinking a mouse in like a maid outfit.
No, she was a mouse
Like, no,
slave
this doesn't-
previously, so I was like, yeah, this is actually going up in life for her. Like, it's pretty great. There is a rope around her neck, and she's like strangling, and she's trying to get a hold of it. Like, this little scene of her ends with her like passing out in the sea. And so then we cut back to Redwall, comfort, happiness, good times. We kind of get an idea of some of the creatures that live at Redwall currently. So it ranges depending on like the story of like how many like badgers they have and things like that. So currently they have just a range of ages, and they call like the babies through like age 5 or 6 Dibbins. So if you hear me say Dibbin, it is a very young beast.
Okay.
And then old Simon is like essentially Methuselah, and he's like, yeah.
He's the Papa Smurf of Redwall.
Is Papa Smurf old?
Yeah.
How old? I thought he was just a dad.
I don't know. Are all the Smurfs the same age? Questions for later.
Yes. Grandpapa Smurf. And
I'll have to look that up.
how many generations of Smurf are?
I don't know. Were they created by Gargamel?
What? I don't know Smurf
No,
lore.
Smurfette was created by Gargamel. I don't know shit about it either.
Jesus. Yeah, that's not one I need to get into. But they have some of their creatures include mice, moles, a badger, Melis, squirrels, hedgehogs, and otters currently residing there. Let's see. And so we're just kind of getting like after the storm, fruit has been tossed down from trees. Like the little ones are running around and being chased by Mother Melis, and everybody's enjoying life and not knowing what's about to happen. It's one of those scenes of like, little did they know.
We're setting up the stakes. This is what we're trying to protect.
Yeah.
And save at the end of the day.
Yeah, it really is. So we cut back to Terramore Island. Fort Bladegirt is the name of the horrible castle.
Boy, the villain stuff just has a lot going on.
Oh, you mean Villain McVillain Face? What?
Yeah, like his fucking name is Gabagool or whatever the shit.
I mean, to be fair, this was made for children.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, if you've got to remember a lot of names, giving the evil ones like spitball names or something like, oh, that's Cutthroat over there, and he's evil, and there you go.
Good old Cutthroat.
Yeah. We kind of like get a little bit of background on Gabool. He killed the previous king of sea rats, and he just has to hold the title and the crown and the fort to maintain his kingship. What is that monarchy thing? It's not a true monarchy, as you can see. It's just like whoever wins.
Right.
He's looking at his current treasure, which is a gigantic bell that he set in the middle of the room, and it's made of copper, silver, brass, and gold, and it has a bunch of like mysterious like pictures along it and words, and he's just very happy with this bell. He's like, this is my bell now. It's just sitting there on the floor, mind you. I don't think he has it in like he's crazy.
Is it like a prophecy bell? Does it have a prophecy chiseled into it?
Maybe. Wouldn't you like to know, Weather Boy?
I love guessing things.
There's a drunk sea rat who's eating dinner like nearby because they're on the dinner hall, and he tries to convince Gabool to ring the bell, and Gabool just shoves this sea rat into a cask of wine and lets him drown in the wine.
Hey, boss, why don't you ring that bell?
He says, drink or drown, sea scum. No beast comes near Gabool's bell. Gaboo. So yeah, most of the sea rats find this funny. One sea rat in particular does not, and Gabool is like, I know this bitch. And he's like, this bitch is gonna cause problems for me. He's not laughing. And so he pretends to be drunk and offers this rat named Bloodrig. He's captain of the Green Fang. He offers him a crown because Bloodrig says like, oh, you haven't really shared any plunder with us for like the last 3 voyages, and my crew's starting to get upset. He uses his crew to like, yeah. And so Gabool is like, ooh, here, take this crown. It's perfect for you. And Bloodrig puts it on, and Gabool says, this is how I reward this is how I treat my friends. And then he cuts off Bloodrig's head and says, and reward my enemies. Yeah. And so everybody's like, ooh, shit.
I mean, that's definitely pretty powerful for a kid's book.
Yeah.
Like, I imagine that being pretty impactful.
And so we kind of get early on that he's already unpredictable in, like, his behaviors towards his own men, and so you never know how he's going to treat a creature.
The crazy villain is doing crazy villain things.
Yeah. But he's, like, very mad king and mad pirate. Yeah. We cut back to the mouse maid on the shore. She has actually woken up. She survived the sea.
Yeah.
She removes the rope from her neck. Using the knotted end of it, she fights off gulls.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then she starts moving up the beach, realizes she doesn't know where the fuck she's going, where she's from, who she is, and then passes out on the beach.
Oh, so we've got a main character with amnesia.
Yeah.
That's fun. I like that thing with the rope, though. I like a character with creativity.
Right.
I feel like kids attached to that a lot easier.
And, like,
too.
a female character who's just beating people up is kind of great.
Oh, are the gulls, like, talking?
No. Some birds do. The gulls, we never get, like, any kind of discussion about, so I guess we're kind of assuming they're just evil as well.
Yeah.
Because they just try to eat people.
I mean, birds are evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. That's the main, like, I think there is another book in this series.
Birds aren't real, but if they
Oh
were
my
real,
God.
they'd be evil.
Okay.
Brian Jaques knows because he didn't give them a personality because he knows they're not real.
Listen, some birds do have personalities. The seagulls do not. The seagulls are essentially like vultures of the sea for the purpose of this. Yeah. And so, like, they don't have any personalities. I think in a different book in the series, there is a bird that, like, talks to them and they actually and then there's an owl and he speaks perfectly fine English. So yeah, actually I don't know what the rules are exactly, but some birds good, some birds not.
That was a little inconsistent. I am excited for an extension to the John Livingston Seagull-verse.
Oh no. All right, and so she has passed out on the beach. We are cutting back to Redwall. Young Dandon is, of course, the one who beats the hollowed log very aggressively, and his friend Saxtus is, like, another mouse of similar age, so his peer, and they're friends, and they both, like, go to lessons together and everything, and they're really, really trying to hide from blind Simeon, who's, like, the old... I think I might have called him Simon earlier. It's fine. Yeah.
So is he an ape? Is that why he's Simeon?
No, he's a mouse.
Oh.
Just his name.
I find that annoying, actually.
Yeah.
Getting on my shit list, Brian.
But this is kind of like we get throughout just Simeon being very, like, canny. Like, he just can tell things are happening. And so he's like, I know you guys are over there. And, like, he, like, brushes it off as, like, him being able to hear and smell really well. But it's a little bit, like, magic-y, almost. Yeah. It is now that we learn about the Redwall Charter and, like, a few things about, like, what these beasts are about, and I could read the whole thing to you. It's a little lengthy, but it's mainly, like, don't hurt anybody if you can help it, like, help any beast that needs help, you know, things like that, like, protect Redwall, you know, stuff like that. So it's a lot of, like, only fight when you have to fight and take care of those who need it.
Yeah, the 10 Commandments for small furry animals.
Right. They also don't really have a religion, which is interesting for them to have an abbey. You know what I mean? Like, it's really interesting. Like,
I mean, well, kids just aren't really interested in religion.
Yeah, no.
And I think that's a good thing they didn't try to, like, shove that in there, because kids just don't really care.
Right. And they're very, like...
That would have cheapened it. Do they make a distinction between, like, predators and prey?
Well, because badgers are good, but weasels are almost always bad, and foxes are bad.
I guess it's just whatever the animal has, like, a vibe.
Yeah, I think he really did this based on animal vibes.
Yeah.
Because the owl is, like, that's just vibes. Because, like, then they see a heron later, and the heron is incomprehensible and very evil. So, like, just trying to kill anybody he comes across.
You know, they just be lurking and shit. So,
right.
Yeah, I could definitely get along with them being evil.
Yeah. Anyway, we learn that the Abbott's Jubilee Feast, the Midsummer Jubilee Feast, is happening in 3 days, which is a really short time to be starting to tell people about this. I guess the kitchens have already known, but not for very long. And so, like, everybody's rushing to get stuff together because it's not only creatures in Redwall, it's also creatures in Mossflower Woods that come in. So they're all running around to get ready for that. And I guess it's helpful to know, I don't know, Dandon's great-grandfather was Gonf, the Prince of Mouse Thieves. So he's already kind of situated to be front and center in anything that happens, any shenanigans, you know. So we're at chapter 5, and Gabul is already going crazy, and this is 43 chapters in it. Oh. Yeah. So he just is like teetering on the edge for a little bit, then he just completely sinks. He's talking to the bell. He is like trying to convince it to ring for him. He's like knocking on it, stuff like that. He tries to convince his prisoner, Joseph the Bellmaker, to make him a bell tower to hang this bell in. And Joseph says, get fucked. And this is not a child-safe episode, even if this is a children's book. Get fucked. And Gabul lies and says that Joseph's daughter, the mousemaid, is still alive and tries to, like, threaten her life, even though he threw her off of the cliffs. As far as
he knows, she's dead.
Yeah. And so he like, threatens Joseph, and then he talks to him about, like, well, at least tell me what the pictures and stuff on the bell means. And he, like, reads through a rhyme on the bell that's kind of like, I toll for weddings, I toll for the change of seasons, but beware, like, evil ones who would try to use me. Then we find out that the pictures on it are so mysterious that only the Badger Lords of Salamandastron can decipher them.
Salamandastron?
Yes. Salamandastron is how they say it in the audiobook.
Oh, okay. Salamandastron.
Yeah.
Is that where all the salamanders live?
No, it is not. It's where all the badgers live. Keep up.
Fine.
Get with the program. So then Gabul is like, okay, well, I'll show you where your daughter is. And he pushes Joseph out the window. This is how he's
dealing. He's crazy.
Yeah, he's crazy.
And he's evil.
He's clearly evil and crazy. I don't know how else to tell you this. We cut back to the mousemaid, and she's trying to find water, so she travels, like, inland past the dunes. She's, like, digging for water. She finally gets some, and then she drinks it, hits another gull with her thing, and then falls asleep again, because she is, like, tired. Poor thing. This one, so because it kind of has like an A, B, and C plot, it cuts back and forth a lot. So some of that I've condensed and some of it I've kind of just kept for like continuity reasons, because sometimes it cuts away and then you don't cut back to it for like a chapter or two. So back at Redwall, they're preparing everything for the Jubilee. We meet Dury Quill and his uncle Gabe Quill, who are the cellar hogs. So they're hedgehogs that run the cellars, and they brew all the finest ales and things.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and it's like passed down through hedgehogs for eternity, and so Dury is like he's about the same age as like Mariel, well, that's the same age as the mousemaid, and about the same age as like Dandon. So they're like friends.
Yeah. So what accent do the hedgehogs have? Because I know that's one really charming thing about the way these books are written, is that they're written in exactly the accent that they have.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm not good at accents, so I could not tell you the dialect, like where this accent is from, but it's very cute. Let me see if I can find the right one. I thought, oh, there it is, I think. Nope, that's the moles. So, like, the moles, they talk like, ain't nothing wrong with honey, bees makes it. Things like that. Like, oi, ola sus. And, like, things, like, it's very...
Yeah, it's written how it sounds.
Yeah. And so it can be a little hard when you're first reading it or hearing it to be like, these are words, to the untrained ear. But, yeah, no. And then, so, like, the pirates all talk in a very, like, our piratey kind of way. Everybody has like a slightly different accent, I feel like. And like the hairs are very posh. But yeah, so like the moles have their dialect, the hedgehogs have like their specific accent and the way they talk, even like, because they don't even use like metaphors quite the same. They're very straightforward. Cause like Dury will say like, oh, my uncle says, like stuff like, it's cold outside when you go outside and it's cold kind of shit. Like, like just straight up. And it's like, this thing will be this thing. And it's like, yeah. And he's like, and that's the wisdom of my uncle.
I mean, that's pretty strong characterization for, I guess, kind of minor characters, because they're not like the main focus of the story.
Right. He's kind of in the main trio, but he's not like the main. Yeah.
Everyone's got like their own distinct little bits of personality.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like so much. Each of the background characters gets their own little like kind of like description and stuff that's going on with them. I cut a lot of that out. If people want to know more, they should read this book. And also the audiobook, excellent quality. Full cast. Brian Jaques was narrating the thing, like excellent. So it just made me very happy. Back at Terra Mort, Gabul is now planning to kill another of his captains, because this one is the other captain's brother, the one that he killed with the crown.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Right.
You can't leave any of the family members alive. They're going to seek revenge.
Of course, yeah.
Nip that in the bud. That's villainry 101.
So he's like setting up a plan to be able to kill this guy named Saltar, who is Bloodrig's brother.
Okay.
He's setting that up and also setting up to steal away his ship so that he can't leave. Meanwhile, one of his underlings named Grey Patch is planning his escape from Terra Mort because he's like, Gabul is crazy. And he's like, I don't want to be here anymore. We then cut to Mariel. That's the thing. Okay, so like I'll probably say it Mariel or Mariel. They say it Mariel in the audiobook. Yeah. I don't know if it matters much. But she wakes up surrounded by angry toads because she's on their land and drinking their water. And so she fights back with her rope, her knotted rope, yes. So she decides to call herself Storm after the storm that washed her in. And she has decided to name her trusty weapon Gullwhacker. So her full name is Storm Gullwhacker.
That is funny.
And she has her Gullwhacker.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so she takes her Gullwhacker and she whacks some toads, and she's getting overwhelmed. Like suddenly they're dogpiling onto her because there's way more toads than there are her. And suddenly like 3 hares just join in to the fight. They're like, yeah, hell yeah, we're in. And they're fighting the toads with her.
They're like, yeah, mammal gang.
Like, get them toads. So one thing is like, these are hares of the Long Patrol. Their like war call is always Eulalia. I don't remember why, but it is. So they cry out Eulalia and they jump in. There are 3 members of this particular troop of the Long Patrol. It is Colonel Clary, Brigadier Time, and the Honorable Rosemary, or Han Rosie is how they say it. Yeah. They fight off toads. Rosie bandages Storm. They're getting along fine. So then they're like, you know what? We're already over here. Let's all go visit our old friend whose name is Packatug, and he's a squirrel. So like they just kind of like shimmy off stage, as you do when you're in a children's book.
Exit stage left.
Yeah.
Now we have a different background.
Of course. Children can't, their attention span is different than adults. So I feel like for a lot of these books, you often have really short cuts between like things. And so you like your scenes are just generally shorter. Yeah. We've got some more like songs and poems from Redwall. We get them writing songs for the feast specifically. And then we jump back to Terra Mort, and now the plan is in action for Saltar, right? He brings him up, he tells him he killed his brother, and he's like, oh really? You just killed him unarmed. You cut his head off. Why? And so he feels antagonized. They fight. Saltar dies at this point. It's a kind of lengthy battle for like this book. And, there's like one has the upper hand, then the other has the upper hand, but eventually Gabul wins. So he kills Saltar. Then like almost immediately after, they're like, Grey Patch has stolen the ship and he's outie. He took like 100 sea rats. He's gone. And so he's just like, motherfucker, get the fuck. And so he's pissed about this, and he wants all his captives so that he can send them away. So the hares and Storm, the mousemaid, have visited Packatug, and he agreed to take Mariel to Redwall The mouse made Storm to Redwall.
Storm Goldwhacker.
Storm Goldwhacker to Redwall, yes.
Her full accolades, please.
Right. But he had, like, some stipulations of, like, he wanted all the hare's food, and he wanted to be able to blindfold her so she couldn't find her way back to his house. Because he's, like, real shifty, and he's, like, wearing camouflage, and he's, like, this old squirrel.
I mean, squirrels do just seem like they're up to some shit.
Yeah, he's a freaking crackhead, man. He's crazy. But in the woods, on their way out, Storm and Packatug get into, like, a kind of like a little tussle. Because she's pissed he won't share any of the food with her. He's got her blindfolded and he keeps threatening to shoot her with his blow darts. And she's pissed, so she hits him with her goldwhacker, and then they part ways because she's done with that shit. She takes half the food and she leaves. And so she wanders through the woods.
She's just slowly bullying her way into better circumstances.
Yeah. And so she, like, wanders around a little bit because they weren't really on a trail, and so she's just, like, a little lost. She comes upon another hare. This one is singing in the woods and wearing a jester's outfit, because apparently that's what he likes. Yeah. And his name is Tarquin L. Woodsorrel. He's in love with Han Rosie from the Long Patrol, and he agrees to take Storm to Redwall. So, next. Then we like open up again on Redwall with it being the day of the feast, the big Jubilee feast. So creatures throughout, like, the land are bringing gifts, they're bringing food, they're all coming together to hang out. The last touches are added to some food and drink, so, like, they're still decorating a couple of the cakes, and they're like, we need to make sure that, like, this ale is served here, and for this, because they're really specific about you have to have the right food and the right drink, or everything is a disaster. So that, yeah, they're kind of going a little bit into detail with the food again. Storm and Tarquin then finally show up at Redwall because they weren't very far. They were in Mossflower Woods. And so they come in. Storm is a mess. She is wearing, oh shoot, what is that burlap? She's wearing a burlap, like, shift, and then she's just, like, covered in, like, grime and sand and dust, and she just doesn't give a shit. So she's just staring anybody down who looks at her.
Goldwhacker in hand.
Yeah, goldwhacker in hand.
Fuck up your face.
She absolutely will. Mother Melis, the badger, has to physically fight her and grab her and pick her up and put her in a bath. She wrestles her into a bath and scrubs her. The way Storm describes it is like being murdered. Creative calls them murderers.
Yeah, that makes sense. Kids always think a bath is like the worst possible.
Right, and if you think about it, she only remembers being in water as being dead, essentially.
That's
like,
fair.
Yeah,
that
she probably traumatized.
But, like, at the same time, it also makes sense for a kid.
Yeah.
In like a kid's book, and, like, relating that to a kid, because kids never like taking a bath if it's not their idea.
Right, yeah. And so she's fighting the whole time, but they finally get her washed. They get her dressed in a new robe. They also wash her goldwhacker, take it away from her, and tell her that it has to dry for, like, the next day or two because they don't want her. She accidentally whacked a squirrel because she thought that they were fighting and they were not really fighting. That poor squirrel has, like, a whole other subplot going on throughout. She's just a whole thing. Yeah. It's fine. Now we kind of cut to Salamandastron, the big badger place, and we get our first real, like, description of the badger lord currently. It's kind of like being an office, but it's a bit more like a monarchy because it does get passed down, I think, from father to son. And I think there's been a badger des, like, lord, but I'm not sure. But our current badger lord is Ron Blade Widestripe.
Yeah, no, that does in fact make sense for a badger.
Yeah, he's real big, and he fight.
I mean, generally whenever you see like an animated badger depicted, they're usually pretty wide.
Yeah, this guy's an absolute unit, and they will not stop telling you that. So he's hot, and
Oh my god.
he's talking to some other, like, so he has multiple long patrols, right? And he's talking to a whole batch of them. So he's got a couple different groups in. And he's learning about, like, Storm Gullwhacker. He's learning about, like, you know, things that are happening. He asks about his bell that he's been waiting on. He says it's 3.5 seasons late. And they're like, we haven't heard anything. And he's pretty sure that sea rats are to blame. Mm-hmm. So you can kind of see where things are lining up here.
Yeah. So is sea rats just what they call pirates?
But they're all rats. They are a race of sea rats.
Okay.
Yeah. They don't ever really call them pirates, interestingly enough. It seems like they're the only, like, majorly seafaring creatures besides maybe, like, some sea otters, but they don't really go into that with this. So they're, like, the main seafarers.
I was wondering if they were just, like, doing a replacement there, like, instead of the word pirate, sea rats.
Sea rats. No. They are all, in fact, rats. And the hares do report that they've seen one of the ships, the Dark Queen, which is the one that Greypatch took offshore somewhere. And so he kind of sends them to go keep an eye on that. He sends the three, the Clary, Time, and Honrosie, to go, like, keep an eye out on that neck of the woods. Meanwhile, in Terramort, Gabool can hear the bell ringing constantly now, essentially. Like, it's just every now and again he tries to go to sleep, it rings. He has nightmares about, like, badgers. He has... It's starting, and it's happening now.
So he's, like, being haunted by badger prophecy?
Yes. Okay. Yes, he is. Yeah. Badger Bell prophecy.
Badger Bell prophecy.
As you do. So then we're back in Redwall for the feast, the actuality of the feast. They're eating, like, an insane number of tarts and trifles and quiches and just everything. Mm-hmm. Everybody is eating to their best ability. Like, a baby mole has a plate piled high with, like, some kind of a trifle. Mm-hmm. I think it's like a summer cream trifle or something like that. Yeah. When he goes to almost fall asleep face first into it, they use that as a reason for them to have to come in and save him, so they just start eating off of his plate.
No, how terrible.
They're like, oh, he's gonna drown, and so they just start eating off of his plate. Yeah. So it's very fun. Like, nobody's really made fun of for being a glutton because everybody just enjoys food and is having a good time.
We're hobbing right now.
Yeah, it is really very Hobbit core. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, so, like, after everybody's fed, they don't have any energy for dancing because they've all stuffed themselves. Mm-hmm. But they do have some energy for, like, a few creatures to, like, sing and do some poetry and stuff like that. And so Dandon, like, sings a little song about the abbot. He also sings, like, a different song. I think one of the moles, like, stands up and does one of his things. But then we get Saxtus, who found a very particular little poem in the gatehouse that has stuck with him this whole time, and so he needs to share it with everyone. I've got that one right here. The wind's icy breath o'er the land of death tells a tale of the yet to come. Cross the heaving waves which mark ships' graves lies an island known to some, where seas pound loud and rocks stand proud, and blood flows free as water. To the far northwest, which knows no rest, came a father and his daughter. The mind was numb, and the heart struck dumb, when the night seas took the child, hurled to her fate by a son of Helgate, the Dark One, called the Wild. You whom they seek, though you do not speak, the legend is yet to be born. One day you will sing over stones that are red in the misty summer dawn.
Okay, so yeah, very clearly prophesying Mariel.
Yeah, and Mariel. And so she hears this,
she's like, hey.
Like, screams and faints. Which is very unlike her.
I fell off a cliff and almost drowned one time.
Like, hey, that's suspicious.
That's
Passes out. Everybody's a little upset. They take her up to the infirmary. While that's happening, Gabool is sending all his captains out to chase after this ship. He's promising them treasure. He says that they've taken off with treasure in the ship. This was the Dark Queen. This was Dark Queen. And it was, like, one of the fastest ships, one of the best ships. So he just adds on to that by saying, like, oh, and they've stolen all this treasure, and you can keep the treasure so long as you bring back my ship and Greypatch. But there's not any treasure on board, really.
Yeah, okay. He's just lying.
Yeah, he's just adding to
He's lying to manipulate people.
He's just, he's just adding to it. He's adding a certain je ne sais quoi. Putting some gravy on that.
As Brian would say, je ne sais.
Je ne sais. Alright, so Storm is at Redwall in the infirmary. They've medicated her with, like, some kind of herbal blend. They don't really go that into detail on it, but it kind of makes her, like, open to suggestion like hypnosis would, so they're going to ask her some questions and see if they can figure out, like, where she came from and what happened.
Oh.
Yeah. She tells them her tale of, like, she is Joseph the Bellmaker's daughter, Mariel, and they were on a ship that had like a shrew captain and a shrew crew, and they had gone out to sea, even though the shrews are normally freshwater beasts, and so they didn't really like it. But they get boarded by sea rats. A lot of people get killed. The Belle and her father all get taken back to Gabool, and then she and her father are his captives for 3.5 seasons, because they were due to be taking that Belle to Salamandastron, and it's now 3.5 seasons later. So I think that was like in the fall, then through the winter and the spring, and then halfway through the summer. So it's been a while. She like kind of remembers like a few incidents of like being really badly beaten when she tried to escape, being pissed that she couldn't do anything. Then she remembers the fight with Saltar, and she accidentally like bumped into Gabool during the fight, which he saw as her trying to
intervene.
Yes. Yeah, and like kind of like backstab him and make sure he died, and like, yeah. Mm-hmm. And so that's why he threw her overboard. Out of the castle windows. She does notice some of the distrust between Greypatch and Gabool, so we kind of get like that there's a little bit more background to that, like going further back of like Greypatch was already a little wary. She remembers getting thrown off the cliffs into the sea with a rope around her neck that was tied to a boulder so that she would sink. And then she gets her hands loose and she gets the boulder loose, like, and then she's, upset again because it's like it's a pretty upsetting story. Yeah.
That's reliving a trauma. That makes sense.
And so now this is the first time we've really cut to like Greypatch in any specific circumstance. We kind of only had like a sentence or two about him before, but now he is for sure a character in his own little plot.
Okay.
He and his ship are heading, the Dark Queen, are heading towards a river that feeds out to the sea because they need to hide because they know the other pirates are after them. And they're like, we just can't outrun them forever, so we have to hide. So they get to this river. They don't have time to wait until high tide, so they are pulling the ship up the shore physically, like making the oar slaves do it, and everybody's doing it.
The oar slaves?
Yeah.
Oh, they got slaves in this?
They sure do.
Oh, man.
And they're like children.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And they're, yeah.
Do they have slaves in Redwall?
No.
Okay, well.
Redwall refuses to have, like, any kind of slavery. They explicitly free slaves that they come across.
Okay.
The sea rats are evil and have slaves.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah, so like Mariel was a slave.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, they have specifically oar slaves to row the boat.
Row the oar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, it sure does.
Oar slaves do the oaring.
Right.
It's just the way of the world, really.
It's just the way you do it. So they're pulling the ship up the beach, and then they see a different ship down the shore, and they're like, fuck. And so it's in the sea, and they know that they can't hide fast enough, so they know that the battle's coming, essentially. In Redwall, Mariel has decided to pack and leave because she remembers what happened to her. She remembers that her father's still there, as far as she knows, and she wants to go, like, rescue him. She wants to kill Gabool.
Yeah. Says I gotta go whack a motherfucker.
Yeah, pretty much. She's like, absolutely not. She just shows up. But the creatures of Redwall are like, first, we should figure out a path to where you're going. So they're gonna go look for maps or some kind of because nobody's ever been out that far. Nobody goes to the sea. It's dangerous. So they convince her to stay for an extra day or something, and yeah.
They're just like, how can we be a quaint little village if we're doing crazy things like go to the beach?
What do you mean vacation? We are the vacation. The beach has evil things.
What do you mean? We're never tired. We don't do anything but have lunch and tea.
Yeah, and then they pick apples sometimes, and then they take a nap out in the orchard. precious babies. They do the very cute, like, a bumblebee sleeping in a flower kind of shit, you know, the shit I'm into, the whimsy. And we cut back to Grey Patch. His crew is now fighting that other ship that they saw. He pretty quickly kills the other captain, and they find, like, bows and arrows, and they light it on fire.
Oh.
Yeah. And so the other sea rats are a little peeved at this because they were like, A, another ship, B, we knew people on that ship that they might have joined us, but we didn't even ask, and we just killed them all. And so, yeah, there's already, like, a growing...
Seeding some potential overthrows in the future.
Yeah, just the seeds of mutiny just settling in there. And it's early, too, like, they haven't been gone but a few days, like, that's crazy. Gabul is sinking further into insanity, and he sent all of his cooks away on the ships. So now he is making his cleaning slaves go cook him food, and they're like, I don't know what to do. So they're just, like, hiding from him.
They're just, like, putting cleaning vinegar in
Yeah.
the soup.
And he has, like, these, like he's having trouble sleeping, so he's having, like, these waking nightmares of badgers coming to kill him. Yeah, and he's just, like, all the time now. He is fully there.
Yeah. He's, like, stressing himself out until he's just Caligula.
Yeah. At Redwall, they've been searching through the gatehouse. Then they find out that it was the scroll that they had put to prop open the door of the gatehouse. So they went looking, and then it was...
That's so fucking adorable.
And then they were like, aw.
It's so adorable, I hate it.
They just cleaned out the entire gatehouse for no reason, essentially.
Son of a bitch.
Right? But what they find is not actually a map, which would be way more helpful, really. But, like, I mean, you can't have it be easy.
Yeah, you can't have it.
Yeah. So instead we get a very long poem, once again.
Oh my god.
Okay, surprise.
I don't know if we can read whole.
Yeah, that's true. It just kind of says a few things about, like, danger at every pace, and it kind of gives them, like, the path piece by piece in, like, a very,
Annotated?
No, it's just in a very, like...
Vague?
Yes. It is vague, and it is... What is that thing? Prophecy. It is very prophecy-like, because it's kind of indecipherable until you are in that situation, and then it's like, well, this warning didn't help me at all, because I couldn't tell what you meant. Yeah. So... So yeah, it's a lot of stuff like that, and it's just like, you know, find the otter and his wife and such, and so they're like, cool, we have this. Mariel, she's like, I don't care if I don't have an actual map. This is the best we got. I'm taking it. And she starts packing to leave in the morning. During the night, Martin the warrior mouse, his spirit, like, comes to blind Simeon in his sleep and shows him, like not visually, but walks him to the place where Martin the warrior's sword is hidden in the abbey. Like, nobody knew where this was. He walks him down there. He has him pick it up, and he has him take it to Dandon and leave it at his bed. And then he, like, goes back up, and he's like, okay, cool. Dandon also dreams of Martin the warrior that night, giving him the sword. And so it's like, you know, he's
That's kind of funny.
Yeah. It's just like Martin the warrior didn't physically do anything, but he did make sure the sword got to Dandon.
Yeah.
So, like...
So ghosts are real.
Yeah, but they're also non-corporeal, and so that's kind of fun. Yeah, so he does that. Dandon dreams that Martin also told him that Mariel needed a friend like he did once upon a time, and he needs to go and help her in her journey. So then we cut back to Grey Patch. They've successfully killed off this other ship. They're finally up into the river, and now they're sailing upriver. They're being followed by Packatug, that crazy squirrel with the camouflage, because he's like, I sense an easy mark. And he's just waiting for a chance to steal shit from them. Because he's very neutral. He's chaotic neutral, kind of, you know, it's just whatever's good for Packatug. He doesn't give a shit. So they're not used to being inland at all. So it's really fucking them up. They don't know how to travel in the woods. They're not used to bugs biting and plants stinging, and they don't know what to eat. And so they're just running around like confused. Packatug just starts shooting them with darts like a dick. And they finally find him because they're like, hey, what the fuck is this? And they take him back to Grey Patch. he gets tortured and questioned, and eventually he just gives up that Redwall Abbey is nearby, and he says he'll take them there.
What kind of torture are they doing?
It's not...
Is it like cutesy kind of torture, or...
They don't go into a lot of detail in it. It's a lot more like threatening his life and to cut off all of his paws and things like that.
Oh, okay.
And poking him with swords and things, yeah.
Yeah, definitely stuff, that is okay for like a 10 to 12-year-old.
Right.
Also isn't going to like terribly scar them or anything.
Yeah, they're not using like thumb screws or anything crazy. So, yeah. At Redwall, Mariel is sneaking out in the morning, and she, of course, takes food and provisions with her. She sneaks out, she finds Tarquin on the road, and he's like, oh, well, we might as well travel together. And then along the way...
we're just two friends going on an adventure.
Crazy that we would be going the same direction.
I would just need two more.
And so then along the path further, they meet Dandon and Dury. Mm-hmm. And so Dury
closes... This is just Lord of the goddamn Rings again, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is just Frodo and Samwise.
Is she Samwise or Frodo? She's headstrong and fighty. I don't know. Frodo wasn't really that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I can't remember exactly how he was in the book. I know he was way different in the book than the movie. Mm. But I don't know. It doesn't have to be perfectly
right.
One,
but it's very
yeah. Again, I've never heard this story, but I knew that those two met together. And then there were going to be two more friends because you have to have 4 on an adventure.
For a D&D party.
That's the rules.
5 is best, but 4 works, man. Anything 3 or below, it's just going to be, weird. So, yeah.
It's kind of hard to figure the challenge rating for 3.
Right? So now they're all going. And she's like, fine, I guess.
I wanted to be a lone wolf, but you guys are ruining it.
Yeah, no, really. They are on the trail. They meet an aggressive heron that's just straight up trying to eat anything it sees. Mm-hmm. They have to fight it off.
Very true to herons.
Yeah, because this is and he talks, but it's in a really weird, crack,
because it's his stupid giant beak.
Yeah.
I want to let him articulate words.
So they kind of scare him off, mainly Mariel with her goal whacker. She does a lot with that thing, man. She just whacking people left and right. Crazy. So then they go to cross the little ford where he was at, and they realize there are pike in the water, and they can't swim it, so they have to go around and build a bridge.
Like the fish.
Yes.
Okay, I was thinking the big long spear.
Oh, no. Just a wild pike.
It's just a stick floating.
Well, we can't stop here. Yeah. So they have to build a bridge to go across. Once they get across, they kind of realize, oh, well, this was foretold in the rhyme because it was dangerous waters and death on stick legs or something. And it was yeah. And so they're oh, well, that's obviously that. And it's very much you go through and you don't realize until after the fact that this was
right.
What they were talking about, which I always find really annoying because I'm why the fuck would you write a warning
prophecy, then?
That isn't helpful? Yeah. Have details. Would it hurt to have one detail? No. Now, back to King Gabul. I have put here, King Gabul is cray-cray and not sleeping.
Yeah, as crazy villains tend to do.
Yeah, he starts attacking the bell, and then he thinks it laughs at him, but it's just...
He's just having a crisis.
Yeah!
He's not... Is he even doing, anything villainous right now? No, he's just...
I mean, he's having slaves the whole time, but
I guess. He's got just a baseline of villainy.
Yeah, and we know he has a history of villainy, but no, he is just going off the rails. He thinks the bell is laughing at him, but it's just echoed laughter from a different room. Yeah, no, he's insane. He sent, a ship comes back in and it's hey, you didn't send us off with enough food. We're gonna go look in a different direction and we need food. And he sends them back out without any provisions to go look for the Dark Queen. He is mad kinging it to the max. Yeah. He's I don't give a shit if you can't eat. Then we cut to Grey Patch, and so Packatung has walked them through the woods to find Redwall. So they're outside the gates currently, and they're trying to come up with a plan. They were going to steal a Dibbin as like a hostage.
A child?
A child.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, a little baby. They were gonna steal it, but then they saw Melis, the gigantic fucking badger, and they were afraid, so they didn't do that.
They're like, whoa.
Like, Jesus Christ.
That badger entirely too wide.
It is humongous, and so yeah, and so like that kind of ends like, so this is, weirdly enough, this is kind of like split into 3 books, is what they're called. It's just 3 sections, right? The first one is like half the novel, and then the other 2 are like the other half. So it's like the other 2 are a lot shorter because things are actually happening. That's all build up pretty much.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. You know what doesn't make sense?
No.
The way I pivot to ads.
You're right. It doesn't make any sense.
I've never made any sense. Every time I only get worse at it, is the thing.
You're crazy like a sea rat.
I'm crazy like a sea rat.
And we're back. I'm trying to make this a thing.
No, we're not doing like a radio. It's different than radio.
Get fucked. It's a podcast.
Why are you
Love you.
Love you. But we are back.
Guess who's back? Back again.
No, we're gonna copyright strike. Stop that.
Anyway.
Anyway. That's like the biggest thing with doing a podcast is all the so's and anyways. Because you don't know how else to segue back to what you're talking about.
And then they got hit by a bus. So now we've kind of transitioned into book 2, which is titled The Strange Forest. So it's just kind of telling us like more stuff is going to be happening in the forest. In Redwall, there's an otter named Flag, and he's heading out to find Dandon and Dury for Melis because she's like really worried, you know, where the fuck did these kids go? Because they're like they're adolescents, they don't really specify an age or anything because that would be kind of hard to keep like track of between species and stuff, I think.
Sure.
So they're like an undetermined adolescent age.
I don't know that I would trust an otter around children though.
Wow. Rude.
They're horrible.
Shut up. But he runs out of the abbey. He's gonna go and find them, and he's not very far outside the abbey when he sees the sea rats and hears them planning to like get into the abbey essentially.
Yeah.
So he backtracks it back in the door and tells everybody to like lock all the gates.
Situation.
Yeah, he's like, hey guys, we don't have time for them. We have to worry about us.
For the lost children, we're about to get raided.
We
by
are
pirates.
the lost children. And so, you know, as you do.
As you do.
So they.
So. And. That one was me.
The sea rats come up to the main gate and they're like, oh, we're poor wretches and we don't have anything, and look at these slaves that are definitely just us, and look how sad we are.
We can't even afford to feed our slaves.
The abbey beasts, of course, know the truth because Flag heard them talking about it. And so they do like slingshots. One of the beasts throws a turnip and hits Grey Patch. So he's one-eyed. He's Grey Patch, right? He has eye patch. Hits him in the good eye, and he is blinded.
That's pretty funny.
With a turnip. So the sea rats are kind of driven back because they weren't expecting them to know, but they're kind of dumb. So they wander back into the woods, regroup, figure out what's going on. Mother Melis starts, like, she feels bad about the ore slaves and, like, kind of mentions, like, we should do something. And they're like, we can't do anything until we've got ourselves settled. Like, we'll figure this out. And then Grey Patch's crew are really frustrated because they were like, oh, this will be easy pickings. You know, we'll just take this abbey, we'll have food, and we'll be kings in the woods. And it was not that way. And so some of them want to go back to the ship and sail away. So he's having a lot more like,
hey, we didn't sign up for resistance.
Yeah. They're like, we aren't siege rats. We're sea rats, idiot.
Is that an actual line?
No. I made that one up special for you.
Thanks.
Right here on the spot. It's not even in my notes.
Preach.
That's for you.
Continue.
You take your gift and you're gonna like it.
Why are you always so mean? This is why you agree to do the podcast, so you have a reason to be mean to me.
Shut up. Meanwhile, in Mossflower Woods, Clary, Time, and Hanrosie are they're traveling through, so they're following the wreckage of like that other ship that they saw, and they kind of come in through the river because they see like evidence of sea rats, and so they come inland through the river, they find the ship, and they're like, fucking sea rats, so they just like dismantle the ship, they take all the oars, they hide things, they remove the rudder, they like make it unusable. It's just a floating piece of wood by the time they're done with it. They also try to eat the food, but it's too gross for them because it's not like weevils in it. It's like hardtack.
I mean, accurate to life on the sea,
right?
Yeah.
So they're just causing mischief, you know. Then I've started, like, at this point in my notes, I've started to give them, like, little tags for each group. So I've got Mariel and co. And they're going through the woods. They get drugged and ambushed by these creatures that call themselves Flitchi. And I think that they are later, like, in a different book maybe, revealed to be shrews. Because I remember something about Flitchi shrews, but I'm not certain on that. They don't get identified as a specific creature in this. They just get identified as Flitchi.
Okay, so they're keeping their identity shrewded.
No, they're more shrewd than that.
I fucking hate you. I hope you goddamn die.
Don't be a little Flitchi. And anyway. It's another part of the rhyme wherein it was like, my nose shall not send me to sleep. And basically they were burning herbs that make creatures fall asleep. And so they pass out in the woods. They get tied up to a tree. They're like, fuck. Because there's a ton of them. And they can't really do anything. So then they remember the next part of the rhyme, which is like that you just need to bang on the hollow log and say, we are creatures of Redwall, like, a lot, and then if there is somebody brave nearby, he'll come and help. And so they do that. They find out that they realize that they are tied to the hollow log, so they get untied, bang on that, they say we're creatures of Redwall, and they get rescued by an owl, a barn owl specifically. And so we'll kind of like come into that in a minute. Meanwhile, Ronblade Widestripe kills a shipload of sea rats because they came ashore because they had like, I think they ran into rocks or something. They had some damage and they were trying to repair it. And he destroys them. We find out later that he's kind of going through this thing like I think they call it blood rage. So he's like barbarian level. Yeah. So yeah, he just shreds them essentially. I think he does take their ship. Yeah.
This is a weirdly violent book for kids.
Right? They do describe some of the deaths more than you would expect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of sick, honestly.
And, like, there's revenge arcs and shit. Like, it's crazy. I was not expecting this when I was a child, and so that's, I think, part of why I was so excited.
That's why you are the way you are.
Well, they were like, kind of like, let's treat kids like adults, like, just give them a story of adults with slightly less, like, you know, sex and bloodshed, but, like, still give them the story. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's important for kids. Like, having something to read or some piece of media that's just a little bit too old for you, I think that can be important.
Yeah, just like reaching with your capabilities of like empathy and things, I think. The crew, Grey Patch's crew, half of them have left because they were so pissed about not getting immediately entered into the Redwall Abbey and being kings, so they've turned around and they've gone back to their ship, and they come upon the 3 hares of the Long Patrol, and they all get in a fight. Big fights. They see that their ship is essentially like disabled. They won't be able to go anywhere even if they get a hold of it. They get beat back by the hares, and so they just turn around again and come back. So they just wandered out and came back.
Are they going to go back to Redwall and ask for help?
No, they're going back to Grey Patch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, sorry, Captain. And then
we realize the error of our ways.
Right.
Nothing else.
Back with Mariel and company, the barn owl is named Heavywing McGurney, and he fights off the Flitcheye tribe, and he takes Mariel and everybody back to his house for dinner, where we meet, like, his wife Thunderbeak, and his several children.
Sick fucking name.
Yeah. And his several children who all, like, as sport, like to hunt down other creatures and stuff. Like, they're an aggressive wrestling family, is what they are.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense for owls.
Yeah.
Owls are the silent assassins of the bird world.
These birds are fucking crazy. And he's like, the whole time he's saying, like, we may not be the wisest owls, but we are the bravest. They're just, like, going head first. So he, like, takes them in, then they talk, and he kind of, like, tells them, like, okay, well, in the morning, I'll take you part of the way on your journey, but I stop at a certain point and come back home. We get, like, a little tiny clip of Gabool he's stopped sleeping at all. He does not sleep. He only sleeps when he cannot physically keep his eyes open, and then he wakes up to hear the bell ringing, even though it's not ringing.
So is this actually just him going crazy? Or is something happening? Or are the badgers, like, working some kind of spell work on it? Or is this a bell curse?
So, it is cursed for those who would use it for, like, ill things, I think. But also, I think he's just going crazy. I think it's all gotten to him. Like, you know, he's not out there on the seas and he doesn't have anybody. It's kind of crazy. We get introduced to a new character who does not talk at all. Is kind of, like, given, like, a character arc-ish, but is not really described as super sentient.
Huh.
It is a scorpion.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not the kind of animal I would have thought would be in this story.
Right. And so it doesn't ever talk, it just, like, clicks and does things like that.
I mean, they don't really have, like, a mouth.
It is angry.
Yeah.
It has emotion, and the emotion is anger. And so that's how it lives.
Yeah, I mean, that is interesting. I wonder if it just doesn't speak because it's not fully sentient, or it's because it does not have a mouth in a traditional sense.
It does seem to get, like, goaded on by Gabool, but that could just be because it hates dealing with him. But he's got it trapped in a hole in his, like, castle, and it's like there's a hole in the floor, and it's like a pit, so it's down there in the pit, and he's promising to feed Grey Patch to it, because apparently Grey Patch was the one who helped him capture it, and so yeah, and this thing's name is Scrablag. That sounds about right for a scorpion.
Yeah, I guess. Scrabbly.
Scrablag.
Scrimbly boy.
Scrembly. Grey Patch's crew back in Mossflower Woods, they return with their tails between their legs, and they say, hey, ship's fucked, we're fucked, help. And so he is like, okay, well, my eyes healed so I can see again, thanks for asking. And he tells them about his plan to take Redwall Abbey, which is to come from multiple angles. So he wants, like, some people to be, like, shooting arrows and stuff at the front, and some people to be coming in with grappling hooks from the back, and, like, some people to be fighting with, like, fire from the side, you know? So he has, like, this multi-stage attack plan. So they're going to go through with that. They don't start on it just yet, but they kind of, like, go into detail of the plan, and then they're, like, preparing everything, like, making the arrows and getting everything together. Mariel and Dury and Dandin and Tarquin and the owl are all now going on their way with some food from the owls, and he takes them through some of the forest and to the edge of the swamp dark land, where it's like it's always kind of like a twilight because it's just dark in there. And he says, like, I don't go any further than this, so good luck. And they get sent in there. At Salamandastron, whichever you prefer. Some other hairs of the Long Patrol have, like, see parts where Ron Blade has, like, slashed the walls with his sword, and they're like, oh yeah, the Blood Rage, or Blood Wrath, that's what it is. And so apparently it hasn't happened to a badger in, like, 2 generations or something. So it's not something that every badger, like, deals with or anything, but it does make them extremely aggro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was to expect an animal to have something called blood wrath, I probably would expect it to be a badger.
Right? Especially a honey badger. They got something else. I don't know what that would be.
I mean, this is a European badger.
Yeah. They're the nice, pretty ones with the
Yeah.
stripy. They're
not
not...
the crackheads. The
Yeah.
meth-addled fiends that America has.
Right. So they're all freaking out. All the rabbits or all the hares are like, we have to find him before he accidentally kills somebody he doesn't mean to, because apparently he's just in it for the fight right now. He's already killed a ship full of pirates, sea rats, and so he's of course farther gone than what they're going to find. But back at Redwall, they see torches coming through the woods because they're bringing fire to try and burn down the abbey gates. And this, I have the note, begin Redwall siege. So this is, from here on in, most of it's siege. It's just, yeah. They are using fire arrows. They are using the grappling hooks and rope to, like, climb over the wall, or trying to. Some of the Dibbons get a hold of knives and start cutting the ropes before the adult creatures even notice that they're using grappling hooks. And so they have like a lot of like little things of like kind of Home Alone stuff that the Dibbons are getting into. Yeah. And like fun little ways that like everybody's involved. You know what I mean? Without necessarily like everybody being in insane mortal danger. Right. Yeah. And so like, yeah, it's got a lot of stuff like that. And so once again, the sea rats fail. Because
they're incompetent.
They're incompetent. Yeah. And they're getting like shot down with arrows and slings, and then they can't get enough fire onto the gate at any time for it to actually burn, and all their ropes are cut. So they don't have any grappling hooks. And they get pushed back. Basically, they put the ore slaves in front of them as like creature shields, because it's not a human shield. And then they're like, hey, parlay. And they're like, yeah, what the fuck? Because they're like, why the fuck would you put these creatures in front of you? You think we're gonna shoot them? And so he's using their mercy to like, get an upper hand. Right. But he's like, let us go back into the woods and like do our stuff. We'll be back. And they're like, yeah, you could have just left any time, idiot. We're not gonna chase you.
We live here, stupid. And
so like everybody in in Grey Patch's team just kind of like back off. It's a lot of that, of like coming forward and backing off. And yeah. There are like some little side bits of like, on the trip for Mariel and them, there are many little dangers of like snakes and like the swamp. They're like falling in. There's like a lot of like like salamanders and things just that they're coming across, but none of them are like incredibly plot important. It's just another like way for you to see like, oh, well, this is definitely a prophecy, Right. They finally make it out of the swamp dark and towards like the dunes and stuff.
So we get to our next trial.
Yes. So now Grey Patch and his crew are back. And this time they've decided to use what they call fire swingers, which is a rope tied to like two rocks, which are wrapped in like flammable material. So like things like dry grass and stuff, lit on fire and thrown over the walls. And apparently they can get some pretty good range on those. Like twice the range of the bow and arrow that the Redwall people are using. So they can stay farther back while doing more damage. Yeah. So the Redwallers all have to like start fire brigade duties, and they're keeping like all the little ones inside, and everything's just a little bit chaotic. The Long Patrol hares show up at Redwall, and they come in through the gates, and they're like, hey! So they get introduced to everybody. It's a good time. I will say the character of Han Rosie is kind of extremely annoying to listen to because she laughs like, woo-la-la-la-la. Yeah, she does a weird whooping laugh, and it's horrific.
Yeah, that does sound really annoying.
Yeah. So it is.
It sounds like I hate that character, actually.
And then, like, she's constantly asked by the other rabbits and everyone around her, like, please stop laughing, you're hurting me. Like, it is unbearable even in their world.
That's funny.
Yeah. So she's, of course, laughing it up. Mariel and company finally reach the sea. they meet somebody who they didn't expect and I don't think he was even in the rhyme or anything, because that was from like an older traveler. Bobo the mouse. And he has a pal named Furl, and he's a newt. And they like hang out in the caves. He used to be an ore slave. He got away. He got tossed into the ocean like Mariel, and he just made friends with a newt because he doesn't know anyone else, and he's just lonely.
Yeah, I guess so.
So him and this newt just hang out. He helps them with like the final clues, which includes like going down into this pool of water and fighting off a large lobster to get a little trinket that will help them find the way. Stuff like that. So now we're in book 3. So you can see like how short these last 2 books kind of are. Like there's a lot less meat to them in as far as page, but there is a lot happening. So book 3 is called The Sound of a Bell. Kind of obvious, yeah. So we kind of cut back to Redwall, and the Long Patrol hares have like come in because they were like, oh, sea rats don't laugh like whatever the fuck that was, because on Rosie just absolutely killing it with her laughs. Mm-hmm. So they're hanging out, they're introducing each other, they're getting like the situation, and they run out into the woods and start to make longbows because they heard that like the bows in the abbey just weren't cutting it.
Mm-hmm. Hares of the Long Patrols making long bows.
Indeed. Mm-hmm. Indubitably. And they, so then they're like teaching the Redwallers how to shoot a longbow as opposed to like just a normal short bow and everything like that. And they're kind of able to fight back against Grey Patch better now, because like they can actually shoot far enough to reach them where they're throwing their like fire spinners. And they had more range than the Abbey Dwellers did with the arrows, and they were able to do a lot of damage. So now the Redwall creatures can fight back. They're killing people pretty aggressively because they're using mainly like the bigger beasts. So they're using like Flag the Otter and Mother Melis. So she's just straight up like harpooning people with arrows. She's aggressive.
Yeah, that does sound pretty aggressive for a children's book.
Yeah, they're just like, yep, and then it was sticking halfway out of his neck. And so from that, the sea rats start to run away because they're like, fuck, we can't do shit now. And they're like, they've lost a lot of sea rats. They started with like over 100. I think it has them down to like maybe 30, 40, something like that right now. It's less than half, I think. So yeah, they're like, we're not gonna win this. We need to go. And they're all trying to run back, and Grey Patch is calling them all cowards and shit. Cut away from that, Mariel and company, they were after that little trinket to help them find their way. It's a swallow that only flies one way. It only flies like true north. Oh. Yeah, so basically what it is, it's always pointing north.
And it actually flies?
No. It's like a little metal thing. Okay, it's so a lot, it's a lot more like a compass, yeah. Okay. It's like a little, like, I think it's like a pendant or something that's like that, yeah. Okay. And, so they have to go down into this, like, big watery pit to get it, and they have to fight off a giant lobster. And this lobster cut off Furl's tail the last time he tried to get it. So Furl just grew his tail back, and Bob was like, I'm not letting him go back in there, you're not cutting off his tail again. But they fight this thing. While they're fighting the lobster, Furl actually does sneak down there, and he gets the little trinket, and so they
gets his little tailbones back.
No, no, the lobster for sure ate that.
Yeah, and lobsters do eat some pretty nasty things.
Yeah, it's a big lobster. And so they get that, they're very happy, and they're excited to figure out like the way to Terramort, because they have to go like exactly northeast, I think, to get to Terramort from Bobo's cave and everything. And Bobo helps them find, it's like a shipwreck that is serviceable, and so they work on that and get it to like seaworthy enough. And so they start to sail that out. And we cut back to Redwall, and the hares are much better at warfare than like any of the Abbey Dwellers, because none of them have prepared for war even a little. Right. And so the hares are just like, yeah, we'll just ambush them and we'll just do this and that, and they like bring all their knives and stuff out, and like, yeah.
Are the hares, are they kind of like the Robin Hoods? Like sort of like a Robin Hood stand-in?
Not really, because they work for the king.
Okay.
They work for
Okay, yeah, they are just a patrol.
yeah, Ron Blade.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just a like an army kind of. Yeah, but not like super huge, and they just go on smaller patrols. So, so yeah, they are kind of like telling them how to better prepare and attack the sea rats, and then they are also being fed really well because they've never had Redwall food, I guess, or at least most of them hadn't if they had been there.
Had second breakfast.
Yeah, it was. They were very impressed. And Melis, Mother Melis, the badger, she asks the hares if they can help save the ore slaves because she felt really fucking bad when she saw them. She was like, they're like children. And
that is really nice.
Yeah, the hares are like, well, yeah, we can't let that happen. So hares are like, yeah, it is our duty to protect the beasts in Mossflower Woods, and they are beasts in Mossflower Woods.
I guess.
They start to ferret the ore slaves away. Like, so they're chained, like, in pairs of 2, right? And so they have to take them, like, a couple...
2 at a time?
Yeah, they have to take them 2 at a time. They're just trying to, like, quietly get them out of the way before the rats notice anything. So they get away with 2 of them, at first. And then, of course... what they're doing is they're making the rats fight each other so that they can get the ore slaves quietly, and Hanrosi laughs and they're like, what the fuck was that? And then they stop fighting each other and they're like, oh fuck, we have to get out. So they run away with their 2 ore slaves. We change back to Terramore, and Gabul literally cannot tell who people are at this point.
Man, he just feels like he's having like an entirely separate crisis from everyone else. Like he doesn't feel like necessarily connected to these events. Like he set the events in motion and he has just been going in a spiral for the rest of the time. Yeah, no, he is dying. And he is suffering from mercury poisoning.
He literally can't tell who his captains are anymore and thinks that one of his captains is Grey Patch. And he, like, cozies up to him. He's like, oh, I forgive you for all this. Come up to my throne room and I'll get you treasure and stuff like that. And so the captain's like, okay, and just goes up with him and he feeds that captain to the scorpion. Cause he's like, here, I told you I'd get you Grey Patch. And he throws him in the hole.
Damn.
Yeah. And that guy he had just been a sea captain. He didn't know fuck. So yeah, that sucked a little bit for him. Mariel and them are sailing their little half seaworthy ship, and they're in a really, really thick fog. So they can't see shit. They're going based purely off of direction from this little sparrow that they have that like only flies north or whatever. And so they're just blindly going straight in the sea, and they crash into a different ship because they couldn't see shit.
Oh no, now we have to exchange insurance information.
Dandon and Dury get knocked overboard. Actually, everybody gets knocked overboard, but they get seen by the pirates in the other ship.
Hey.
They get captured and turned into ore slaves.
Oh no.
Yeah. They're
Good
like...
thing we started that policy of saving the ore slaves.
They were like immediately like, yeah, you're working for us now, and like just chained them up. Like they had extra chains, I guess, just in case they came across more ore slaves.
While you got slaves. You never know when you're going to come across some more slaves.
Right, that's fair. You gotta, you gotta get new blood in there every now and again. So then Mariel and Tarquin, they don't get seen, but now they're just floating in the icy sea, and they're like freezing and just like trying not to drown. They get pulled out by Ron Blade because he has been sailing his stolen pirate ship the whole way, and he brings them aboard and he's like, oh fuck, I knew it'd be you, Tarquin, you fucking annoying fucker. Because all Tarquin does is sing. He just sings all the fucking time and people hate it. Yeah. And I love him. And he's perfect.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah. He's just a silly little guy. And then we cut back, so they're all on the ship and they're heading back to Terramort still, and then they're gonna try and find Dury and Dandon, because they did hear them get taken by the pirates, or the sea rats. At Redwall, the hares have a plan now. They've adjusted their plan of stealing the ore slaves because the sea rats have kind of gotten wise to that one, and now they're going to use moles to dig underneath the ore slaves and pull them out through tunnels. So they do that. The sea rats have increased security, so they've like put up like some tripwires and stuff like that, but it's, you know, if you're digging underneath them, what the fuck are they gonna do? So they are trying to get that put in place with the moles. The sea rats, meanwhile, are really peeved that they didn't get Redwall. Their ship is disabled. They have like way fewer rats now, and now they're losing their ore slaves. So they're just like irritated. They don't know what plants they can and can't eat. So they're eating like roots and just little things. And they were promised, you know, like the plumpest birds in the land and stuff. And so they're just really frustrated.
Are they going to get invited to dinner by the Redwall mules?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's not that kind of stuff.
Okay.
The ore slaves do get saved. They save 6 of them in 3 tunnels before the sea rats notice, because the sea rats are paying a lot more attention now, and so it's harder to get, like, yeah. The hares are seen, so they draw the sea rats in the opposite direction of the moles in Redwall, so that the moles can take the ore slaves to Redwall, and they can get them cleaned up and fed and everything. And then everybody kind of, like, circles back. Like, once the hares have lost the sea rats, they circle back and come back to Redwall as well.
Yeah.
So now they have saved 8 of the 20 ore slaves. Yeah, so, you know, they're getting there, but not quite. Once again, the book kind of cuts back and forth between chapters because it's like expecting children with like shorter attention spans,
right?
You know, so it has like short scenes, cut to a different scene, you know, get a little picture of everything. So Dandon and Dury are now rowing and being whipped as slaves, and their ship makes it to Terra Mort. All the ore slaves are going to stay on the boat, just down below decks with the oars, and then like 3 or 4 members of the crew are also staying on board, while the rest of the crew goes
inland.
Yeah, up to Fort Bladegirt. While they're kind of like, I guess, sleeping, I think it's evening time, I think it's night, a hooded mouse shows up and like comes into the galley of the ore slaves and is like quietly waking people up and passing out files so that they can like break out of their shackles and stuff. No. They do get heard because one slave is really excited to get out of his shackles, and so he drops them on the floor, and then
he's just excited.
He's just excited, so they get heard, and so somebody's like asking questions. So they have to kill the crew.
Oh my God.
This is no longer.
I guess that is the answer.
Yeah.
It's not what I expect out of a children's
Yeah,
book.
no, they had to kill the crew one at a time, pretty much, and yeah.
All right.
So one of them they lure down in.
It's exactly how I'd play Assassin's Creed games.
Yep. Just whistling, you know.
I'm baiting them over to the bush.
Throwing a rock here and there. Yeah, you're climbing on the walls, right? Yeah. So they kill the whatever is left of the crew. I think it's like 4 members. And they take everything from the ship and they go to sink it. We find out, like, at the very end of this scene that the hooded mouse is Joseph the Bellmaker.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
And he's leading, like, a resistance effort.
Okay. Does,
Mariel's not there.
Oh, okay.
So it's just Dandon and
the
Dury.
rest of
No.
okay.
So Mariel and Tarquin are with Ron Blade on his ship. Yeah. And so they're still coming, but they have to be a little sneakier. Back at Mossflower Woods, Greypatch and his crew are fighting just outright. Greypatch has to kill a different sea rat in order to keep order because they keep trying to make factions against him.
Everyone's trying to mutiny.
And so he just keeps having to like kill the one that gets on his nerves the most. And so now they're like, okay, fine, we'll follow you still, I guess. Another squirrel has heard the commotion of the siege and stuff, has come over and is just watching the sea rats to see what the hell's going on. His name is Oak Tom. He's kind of like a minor character from a separate book, and so it's like a fun tie-in, but he's not that important of a character for like the purpose of this story. Yeah, so he sees that they're putting the ore slaves in a cage now with a bottom and everything to keep more moles from getting them, and he grew up in Redwall. He knows everybody there, every beast. And so he goes back to Redwall to report what he's seen. The hares are now planning a final mission to get them. And they're kind of being like lighthearted in a way that feels like this is the last stand, you know? Like, yeah. So the hares are doing an early ambush, like early in the morning on Greypatch. using 3 squirrels, so it's all squirrels from the Abbey, to ferret away the ore slaves once they cause a commotion. And once they've helped the ore slaves break open the cage, because the squirrels aren't that big. They can't really carry the cage. So they walk right into Kip and just start killing motherfuckers.
Oh.
They just outright, one guy sees them and they just shoot him. They don't care.
All right.
Yep, they are in there. They have bows and arrows. They have lances. They have spears. They have sword. They have knives. They don't give a shit anymore. This is like last stand, large and in charge.
Yeah, this is surprisingly bloodthirsty.
Yeah. You'd be surprised how much children enjoy some
I know.
Vengeance.
I just don't usually consider that, normal. Like,
Right.
that's definitely how I was raised.
Yeah. So they're killing people. They get a knife down to the ore slaves so that they can start like
Freeing
hacking
themselves.
open the cage. Yeah, stuff like that. They call the squirrels in to take the slaves in a roundabout manner to Redwall so that they can't be seen very well. When they get back to Redwall, everybody's really, really sad about the hares because they all really liked them and they were like, fuck, they didn't have to do that. Like, why would they do this? And so Flag and Mother Melis sneak away fully armed to the woods to go get them.
Aww.
Yeah. And so, like, we kind of cut away from that as they're, like, leaving in secret to go try to bring back the hares if they can. Meanwhile, Gabool is...
Still having, like, his own little journey.
He almost is, like, incomprehensible. Like, the words he's saying don't make any sense.
He's got rabies.
He's just, like, rambling about bells and badgers, and nobody knows what he's talking about.
And the bell is still just driving him crazy?
Yeah.
Smile. What the fuck is wrong with this bell?
Spells fucking
What
haunted.
did the bell maker do to make it that way?
So he's, going crazy. He's up there. He sees Ronblade on his ship because Ronblade comes out and he's a giant fucking badger. And so he's like, fuck that badger. Go get him. So they send people out. They also see that ships are being, like, stolen, and that's by the resistance, which is called Trag, which is Terramort resistance against Gabool.
Huh.
Yeah, and that's run by Joseph the Bellmaker and a bunch of like old ore slaves and other slaves that have just
Managed to get away.
Yeah. So they're stealing the ships to make sure that the rats are all trapped there and can't like do anything. They take in all the ships. Some of them they've just outright sank, and some they've just taken away to like a separate area. Ronblade is with Mariel, Dandon, and Dury. They all find each other while the ship is coming in. And Mariel, as they like lead her through some tunnels and stuff to stay hidden from the rats as much as they can, because the rats are all coming at them in a horde, she finds out that her father's still alive and she goes to like, they have a nice reunion. Everybody wants to kill Gabool.
Yeah?
No, they each want to be the one to kill Gabool. So now everybody's fighting over who gets to kill Gabool.
I want to taste his goddamn blood between my teeth.
So we've got Ronblade, Mariel, Joseph, Dandon, and Dury. Each of them want to be the one to do the final swing, and so they're just like, fine, whoever finds him first can have him, and then they just like go out. So yeah, so now they're all actively hunting Gabool in these secret tunnels in the island. Gabool is just being tortured by the ringing of the bell. It just keeps ringing and ringing and ringing. And then we cut down to the room where the bell is, which is like a room below him. And the rats are just throwing apples at the bell to torment him. They're just... So they're ringing the bell currently. I don't know. They weren't always.
Right.
But yeah, right now the bell
They're
is
definitely doing it now.
the bell is being rung.
It's just a fuck Gabool day.
Yeah, it really is. They're like, we just can't wait till this fucker dies so we can look for the treasure that he's got hidden. Like, and so we cut back to Redwall, and Melis and Flag are searching for the hares. They kill any, like, sea rats they see. They only see a couple. They find Honrosie because she jumped out of the fray at, like, the last minute. She was really heavily, like, cut up and everything, and so she's, like, lying in the grass, like, dying. And they find her, they make a stretcher, and they get her back to Redwall. And they like take her up to the infirmary, and they have like a scene of just them trying to like get her to stay alive. And meanwhile, Grey Patch is sick of this shit. He has all of 18 sea rats now out of 100. At least 100. And he has no ore slaves. And he's like, fuck it, we're leaving. And he's like, we're gonna make it to the ship. So they're all traveling back to the Dark Queen in the river, even though they know it doesn't have, like a rudder and stuff. They're like, we'll figure it out when we get there.
We're just gonna aimlessly sail the fuck away from here.
Yeah, anywhere but whatever the fuck is going on here. Mariel and them and Terra Mort are telling the ore slaves about Redwall, and the ore slaves are really excited. They're like, we could have mothers, we could have, food, and it sounds great. And they're like singing songs.
That does sound nice.
Yes. And this is where they agree that just whoever gets Gabool gets him. That's how it's gonna be. And so now it's like an active race to Gabool. Jump back again. And Grey Patch and his crew are now getting picked off one at a time in the woods by Oak Tom. And the others, it's Oak Tom, and I think Flag might be there, and there's another squirrel that's all, they're hunting them.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is getting a little dark.
No,
Are we sure this is a kid's book?
I'm pretty sure.
We're man-hunting at this point. Well,
rat hunting.
Beast hunting.
Yeah. Listen, these rats killed people and killed creatures.
Sure they're not good.
And they tried to burn down that abbey, and then they killed the hares. Okay? And now they don't have to worry about accidentally injuring an ore slave, so they could just kill willy-nilly.
Yeah, I mean, you can just kill indiscriminately now.
Yeah. And Grey Patch is like running, he's scared, he is like, I just want to make it back to sea, I just have to make it back to the sea will save me. So he gets killed by Oak Tom. He's like, who are you? And Oak Tom's like, my name wouldn't mean anything to you. And he just kills him. And then like the last we see of Grey Patch is like, oh yeah, 3 days later he made it to sea as a corpse.
Oh.
He just floated out to sea because he was in the river when he got killed.
Nice.
Yeah, so he did make it back to sea.
Nice little bow to tie on
right.
that one.
He did it. And so yeah, all of Grey Patch's sea rats are dead now, and all the ore slaves are saved.
Yay.
So they're kind of taking care of everything back at Redwall, of like getting the ore slaves cleaned up, and feeding them. Like they're like, they can eat like a lot of food. We gotta make more food. Han Rosie is making a recovery, but she's in like a wheelchair and she's very sick. And so they're just like, keeping her alive. And of course, Melis and Flag made it back safe. So, everybody is pretty happy and secure currently at Redwall. They're doing repairs on the Abbey, stuff like that. Back at Terra Mort, Mariel and all of her lot are doing the Fort Bladegird siege currently. So they are running in. They're attacking from multiple sides, of course. They have secret tunnels, and so they're coming out from all over the place. They're just killing sea rats as they please, aggressively. Yeah. Sea rats are dying a lot in these last couple of chapters.
Basically just the stormtroopers of the story, so...
So there's like a couple little plot points of like specific members of Trag who had grievances against specific sea rats getting to, wreak vengeance upon them and stuff. So that's fun. They all make it back into Gabool's room where he's currently at. And of course he sees Rodblade and he's like, Jesus Christ. He's just terrified because Rodblade is like in that blood wrath of like, he just seeing red and he just straight up wants to kill Gabool. And Mariel tries to stop him because she's like, I want to kill Gabool. And Gabool stabs Rodblade while they're fighting about it. And then Rodblade's like, fuck, if I was any other creature and I didn't have fucking armor, this might have hurt. And it's just like... And so they're chasing Gabool down through the room, and he has thrown a rug over the hole where the scorpion is. Yeah, and he's on the other side of the hole. And so he tricks Ronblade into running at him. He falls down into the pit with the scorpion. The scorpion jumps on him and is about to start like attacking him. And all of a sudden he picks up the scorpion like by its tail, flings it around and throws it onto Gabool's face from down in the pit. And it stings Gabool to death until he is having a seizure and dying.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. And then it tries to turn around and attack Mariel and them because it's just like, fuck, anybody can get it.
Yeah, I mean, basically an animal, I guess.
Yeah. It's very much like a tortured, injured animal just attacking whoever. And so they kill it and cut it up, and they're like, well, none of us got to kill Gabool, but sure.
You ever wonder if cooked scorpion tastes like lobster?
Sure.
I don't know.
I don't know. Are they that close?
I don't know.
No, because arachnids and crustaceans aren't like quite the same.
I guess they're not. They just have like a similar looking body plan.
Yeah, they just have that like, yeah. So I don't know that I would expect that. I could see, since roly-polies are crustaceans, I could see potentially a similarity in their meat if you could get one of the large isopods of the sea, maybe. Yeah. Like a little one, you wouldn't be able to tell. You know, it's just not enough for the texture and the taste. Yeah.
Interesting.
Anyway.
Never mind my tangent about eating bugs.
It's not a bug. Okay, so Gabool's dead. They've killed the scorpion, and they're killing all the sea rats. And so once they've cleared the place of sea rats, they're like dumping them off into the sea because ew. Then they're burning down Fort Bladegirt. And they are now sailing away in some of the ships which they've like kind of stowed away on the other side of the island. And they're kind of like, you know, reminiscing and telling each other the stories. Ronblade says, you know, I think that I'm going to actually give this bell to Redwall, because while I was down in that pit, I was scared as fuck, but then Martin the Warrior came to me and said, get that bitch off me, basically. And he was right, and he saved my life, and so I'm giving that to Redwall. Okay. And then we find out that the markings on the bell foretold that it would go to Redwall. Yeah. And so, like, it was all a prophecy along the bell of what would happen to the bell, basically.
And the bell maker didn't know?
No, because he was only doing it from pictures that Ronblade had given him. So he was literally just doing the thing, but not knowing what it meant.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And so, like, Ronblade, of course, they, like, the Badgers kind of have that, like, foresight and, like, prophecy kind of stuff about them. And so he might not have even known, like, the full prophecy of it, but he knew what had to happen on the bell.
The prophecy never makes sense until you get to the part of the prophecy itself, I guess.
Yeah, so all these ships are now heading back to Redwall, because everybody's like, yeah, we'll all go to Redwall. Ronblade's like, I'm gonna go to Redwall and give him this bell. So everybody has a singular mission, which is to eat hella food.
Good mission.
Yeah. Meanwhile, at Redwall, seasons have passed, so it was midsummer when Mariel and everyone left. It is currently turning fall. So it's fall now, and they just keep standing up at the ramparts and looking and hoping that Dandon and Mariel and everyone is going to come down the road. They haven't seen them. Yeah, they're literally, so like every day, Saxus goes up there and he waits. And they don't come back and he waits.
I guess they don't have a mail system, do they? Okay.
So he's just waiting, and then one day he finally sees them all coming back with like a fuck ton of like slaves. They've got, you know, all kinds of different creatures with them, and of course they've got Ronblade. And so they all come in. Everybody's like ecstatic, you know, very happy, sad a little bit because like, you know, some people died, so yeah. And they get the bell. They've been constructing a bell tower for a while, even though they didn't have a bell yet, because Simeon had a feeling that they should have a bell tower because he's weird.
That's just a little silly.
Well, I think that they had already been planning on getting a bell at some point, but he was like, we should definitely have this bell tower finished pretty soon for unknown reasons.
For reasons.
Yeah. For my reasons.
I don't know the end of the book.
I don't answer to you. And so everything is happy. There's food. Tarquin and Han Rosie get together and have like 10 children.
Oh.
Yeah. So we, at the very last chapter of the book is actually an excerpt from, the new abbot of Redwall, who is Father Saxtus, who is Dandon's friend. And he's kind of like just like wrapping up all the loose ends of it, of like, these people got married and those people went over here.
Samwise had 11 children.
Yeah.
With that barmaid.
Right.
Or whatever, whoever that was. I don't know why I said barmaid.
Yeah, that's crazy.
She definitely wasn't a barmaid.
But yeah, so they're all like, he's just talking about like the good old days and what happened afterwards and just what came of everything. And he says that Mariel and Dandon left a year after that. just to go off and find adventure because they were tired of the quiet abbey life. And so they just ran off and left Goldwhacker tied to the bell so that as like a promise that they would come back and like to remind everybody how the bell got there and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And so it just kind of ties up with him being like, yeah, I'm going to go sit with the other old folks and we're just going to hang out for a while and then see if Dandon and Mariel come back.
Yeah.
It's like, and we're going to eat like summer cream pudding, and there we go.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice. Is that the end of the story?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's really nice.
Yeah. So they tied it up really nice. I wish that there was like a little bit more detail about, I feel like, Mariel and Dandon, but you don't necessarily want to go too far into that, especially if you don't know if you're going to write a book about that in the future. So
I didn't. It sounds like super cozy. Like you've been telling me little tidbits for years, but just how cozy it is. I just wasn't expecting it to be quite as violent as it was.
Yeah. No, they make it proper war.
Yeah.
Like, there's a different book where all the children in Redwall get kidnapped and turned into slaves.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, that's some proper stakes.
They have some dark shit going on in here. Like, I think, a lot of these books deal with like actual consequences of like war and things like that, which I think is good. Like, children can't be watered down with everything, and so it's important that they get some of the good
realism.
Yeah. And I think that they kind of enjoy that more too.
Yeah. Oh, that was fun.
Yeah.
And I'm probably gonna listen to this one because I got you the audiobook so that you could do this for us.
So good.
Yeah.
The full cast.
Mm-hmm.
It's so rich. And like hearing Brian Jaques read off his own poetry, like it soothes a part of my soul. I don't know, it's so good.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah. So that it made me really happy. This is just a good book. Mariel of Redwall, you know?
Yeah. Well, if you listeners have any books that are just like your super cozy comfort read or something like that, or, the usual fare of awful books or something that you come across, let us know. Email us at bibliowrecks@gmail.com. That's bibliorex@gmail.com.
The only thing I will say that could be kind of weird is like every time they do a book like this where one race is kind of evil, it of course has its problems, but it's for children, and I don't think that they were like necessarily going for like stereotypes or anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I mean, you got that with your Tolkien. I feel like there's some racial overtones going on with the orcs and the goblins.
It's just kind of an inherent problem of making like one race evil, I think.
I mean, anytime you go into fantasy, like whether you want it to or not, it's going to reflect like real world things.
Yeah.
So,
But they did genuinely try to make the sea rats like do things that like
genuinely evil.
Yeah, so that they had a reason to hate them. You know what? It wasn't just like we hate them on principle necessarily.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's fun. Yeah. It sounds like a really nice read.
Yeah.
But until next time, I usually do like bad. Have you got any like bad advice? Usually I try to like tie up the end with like a piece of bad advice pertaining to the book.
I think that it should be a piece of good advice for the good books.
Yeah, sure. If you got a piece of good advice.
Yeah, enjoy food. Just have a nice dinner and enjoy it.
Yeah, nothing wrong with a nice hearty meal.
Maybe take a nap in an orchard. It's good times.
Eat an apple pie and then go to sleep on a tree.
Yeah.
In the fall.
As you do.
As you do. Bye.
Bye.